I don't know whether you all hear, many, about 200 hours of conversations with these extraterrestrials, all through this tape recording system. I've had other conversations through a channel that we use. Her name is Phyllis Schlemmer. She lives in Israel. And there's a book written about it which is forbidden to be read in the United States. And I mentioned it briefly yesterday. It's called, a little more space again. Anyway, it's called Briefing. Briefing for the landing on planet Earth, okay? Just write it all out so you can try to get it. Now it's published in England only by Corgi, and I think it came out in 1979. But once in a while you can find it in some books. Sorry, we can't get it published because, you know, we're forbidden to talk to the public. We're bad people. Anyway, in that book, there's a whole outline of all these conversations. Part of it answers your question. I can give you the bottom line. We've had many discussions with the Nine about nuclear war. And starting in 1952, that's when I first bumped into the Nine, they said they would never allow humanity to use nuclear weapons. I'm talking about a war, not just testing and all that. And every time there is a threat on the planet of somebody going ape with the idea of starting a nuclear war, my colleagues, who's Sir John Whitmore, it's all in this book, from England, and Phyllis Schlemmer from Israel, and myself, go to different parts of the planet. We've been to Russia, we've been to India, and China, and all over the damn place. Whenever something looks like it's going to blow up, and we go there and we do nothing but meditate. We have a fixed target, we know what we're meditating on or who, and we don't know whether it works or not. We have no way of telling. If you have a null result, you don't know. It's like the farmer out in Iowa. He says, you know, I got this whole thought way of getting rid of wild elephants on our plains here in Kansas. And the guy said, well, how do I know? I never saw any white elephant, big elephant. I said, see, that proves it. We kept them away. That's why you've never seen one. So anyway, that's the kind of position we're in. So it's a very strong thing, and it's emphasized to us over and over again that, you know, if worse comes to worse, they will step in. But until that time, they allow people like myself, my colleagues, and other people on the planet who are into the peace idea of doing what we can to abort an event. Okay, and there's a lot of stories I could tell you about that. And so I am firm in the belief that there will be no nuclear war, even though if you know a lot about nuclear war, you go bananas. For example, any of you know that there were 53 false alarms in 1983 where our computers and radar said Russian missiles are coming in, all traced back to circuit chip problems, all sorts of mechanical failures. Yeah. It's ridiculous stuff. So anyway, and then there are blow-ups of missiles in silos, and, you know, we have a Pershing missile on the German front, and some crane is handling the thing, the damn thing falls off and blows up and kills, so, you know, all that accidental stuff is always around, and very little of it ever gets in the papers, as you know, unless you're right in a military setup, you know what's going on. And I know some of that because one of the psychics I've trained works full-time for the U.S. government, going around the planet, finding out where foul-ups occurred in nuclear missiles, nuclear fissionable material is stolen here, and all sorts of crazy stuff goes on all the time. It's unbelievable. And knowing that, you'd say, my God, there's got to be an accident someday, and there's got to be a blowout. But I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart that that's what I'm told, and I believe it. I don't think there's going to be a nuclear event. Now, she had another part to her question. What's the second part?
Oh, the author of that book is Phyllis Schlemmer?
No, I'm sorry. It's Stuart Holroyd. He's a professional writer that we hired to do the book. Stuart. Sorry, I didn't give you that. Holroyd, Hollroyd. It's a pretty good little book. You might find it interesting. Too bad it's not available. There we should start a little underground press and get it around. Yes, I'm sorry, you get the
No,
other
actually, the only other part was...
beings. And somebody like me says, I'm talking to a nine and we're doing this with the teeth. Boy, this guy's either nuts or he's a maniac, and why should I listen to him, and blah, 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 you know. The suspicion that somebody might not be, you know, straight and simple and telling a straightforward story. So that's always a problem, and that's why I don't speak about it very often. If I had network time and could reach 60 million people at a shot, I wouldn't mind going up there and they could shoot me afterwards if they got my message out, right? But it's a very delicate thing, okay?
How do you reconcile...
You had put Uri
I
on
put Uri
board.
aboard. He did not observe this shutter effect on the things that he saw, but I made it clear that what he saw were robots. They were not people. They were not beings. So it's not a good test. He himself is also, well, I shouldn't say he is not. Whenever he's a bad boy, he's a young kid, and he is a bad boy once in a while, he gets teleported out in outer space and he disappears. And he's thrown back into wherever he left. And he tells me that when he's there, aboard a spacecraft, and is talking to real people, in the sense that we understand people, that they do look like real people, and they do have eyes and ears and hair and that sort of thing. Most of them, he says, are much smaller than people. They're kind of little compact, kind of wizard-looking people, you know, narrow faces, sharp points, and so on. At least that's the type he deals with. There must be other types that we have not dealt with. But I don't know about this particular thing. This guy may have run into some group that looks like that. I don't know.
What the robots look like?
The robots are kind of cute. They're, they have little heads that look like, I have all this on file somewhere. They have little heads that look like German World War I officers' helmets with a little spike like that. And, and then they have kind of a head thing that comes, a neck thing that comes straight down. And they go down, they have no arms like this, and they go straight to the floor without any feet. And they do have things that appear to be optical systems here, but they don't have any breathing thing, they have no mouth and so on. And they don't have any apparent ears. And when they move, they just kind of float around. They don't, you know, do what we do with our little 2 feet. But that's really about what they look like. So apparently there's a whole computer in here, and there's a whole sensor system here, there's a brain that computes the information. And they say they hang around in space for millions of years. They've got pretty good reliability in their production line. Well, John is in a very peculiar state. I don't know whether you know about what he does, but
Not in the last couple of years. I know the last
he's
thing that
on and off of a
ketamine.
drug called ketamine.
Yeah.
Which is, and when he's on the drug, it's no big secret. I mean, everybody knows it. And when he's on the thing, he's impossible. And when I say impossible, he literally, absolutely, I've been with him when this happened, says, God, you old son of a bitch, I challenge you. I'm stronger than you are. I'm more powerful. And that's a bad side of human nature when you lose humility, especially in the presence of the Creator. And he's not in bad shape right now, but he's had little problems. He's lost his dolphin research lab and a few other things. But they're not the same nine. Forget it. He's on the other side of the fence.
Do you know what happened to Marsha Moore?
I wish I did. I don't. She also was on ketamine, incidentally, when she disappeared.
That was an interesting therapy.
He gets so out of hand that, I mean, I've been out there to rescue him. He just takes whatever money he has or credit card, gets on a plane and goes somewhere. And last time he did this, he wound up in Hanover, New Hampshire, because he went to Dartmouth. And he was just picked up on the street like an old vagrant bum, you know, just staggering around, didn't know what the hell was going on. Fortunately, the police that picked him up took him into the Dartmouth Medical Center, And one of the residents was smart enough to recognize that it was famous John Lilly, and he called up a bunch of us in New York to rescue this guy, take him into our hands, and get him dried out. So we did, and got him into a drying out clinic, and eventually got back home. He starts out all over again. It's pathetic, Yeah.